When was the Masoretic text written? This is a very important question to understand the history of the Bible. This video will provide a brief overview of the age of the text, at least as far back as we can date it. Before I go into that though, I feel that I need to set the record straight. I have seen it stated many times, especially on YouTube, that the oldest copy of the Masoretic text is the Leningrad Codex, which dates to the year 1008. This is simply not true. The Aleppo Codex predates the Leningrad Codex and was written in about 920. In fact, the Leningrad Codex was corrected by using the Aleppo Codex. I believe what these people are meaning to say is that the Leningrad Codex is the oldest surviving complete version of the Masoretic text that we have today. The Aleppo Codex held that distinction until 1947, when the central synagogue of Aleppo, where the Codex was housed for 5 centuries, was torched in anti-Jewish riots. It is further claimed that the Samaritan Pentateuch, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the Septuagint all predate the Masoretic text. Although this is technically true, the idea the text which the Masterites worked on was their own innovation is patently false. Here's the background to that story. The Masterites were a group of scribes that lived between the 6th and 10th centuries, predominantly in the cities of Tiberias and Jerusalem, but also in Babylonia. They sought to preserve and to standardize paragraph and verse divisions as well as the cantillation of the Hebrew Bible, known as the Tanakh, for the worldwide Jewish community. They composed grammatical guides called the Masorah and were responsible for vowel points called nekudot. This system is still used today to teach Hebrew pronunciation. The fact that the oldest Masoretic documents date from the 10th century does not mean that they originate in the 10th century. There are Masoretic texts that predate the Masterites, for lack of a better term. These texts are called in academic scholarship ProtoMasoretic Text. 25 scroll fragments have been found in the Judean desert outside of the site of Qumran that are 98% identical in their consonants to the later Masoretic text. These texts make up about 5% of the Torah. It is presumed that the non-surviving sections of the scroll are likewise identical. These fragments date from 50 BCE until 135 CE, and thus predate the Leningrad Codex by over 1,000 years. Aside from the discoveries in the Judean desert, we find many writings about the scribes of the Proto-Masoretic text, as well as the verses themselves throughout the corpus of Talmudic literature. The Talmud mentions scribes that were employed in the temple to correct scrolls that were found to have had mistakes. They would check off from master copies located within the temple premises. This ensured standardization. According to the Talmud, the kings of Israel were required to write a Torah scroll and keep it with them throughout their lives. After their death, it was brought to the temple to serve as a master copy. If anything can be said, the scribes of the Proto-Masoretic text were clearly copying the text that preceded them precisely. Talmudic literature tells us that there were scribes hired by public funds in the temple to correct mistaken text. As such, I treat the Proto-Masoretic text as authoritative and contemporary to the Septuagint and the Dead Sea Scrolls. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Make sure to smash that like button and have a great day.